What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we will be talking about everything that Pokemon X and Pokemon Y got wrong. So, they got nothing wrong. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to drop... No, I'm kidding. X and Y are my favorite Pokemon games, but even these games had flaws, and today that's what we'll be covering. So, let's get right in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about in X and Y is that gym leaders lose their significance once again. I mentioned this way back when, but there's been this problem with gym leaders where they're just kind of these trainers you face, and other than a special sprite and some music, there's not anything really special about them. And Unova really fixed this problem. We started to see steps in the right direction, and they completely reverted in X and Y. Karina is seen throughout the plot. You get to know her personality. You get to know that gym leader. Everyone else, not so much. Every other gym leader, you kind of don't really get to know. They, like I said, are really just a glorified trainer, and nothing special about them. Now, the next thing is going to be the crazy small dex amount. Now, look, we're not going to be getting 150 plus Pokemon like we used to, and I think the idea with X and Y was that the Mega Evolutions were supposed to count as new Pokemon, but these games had 69 Pokemon in the base game, because the Mythicals aren't available in the base game. That's something they hand out in events later on, so you couldn't yet get Diancie, Hoopa, or Volcanion. Instead, you just kind of were there with 69 new Pokemon options. And, I mean, you know, when you factor in 3 of those are legendaries, 9 of those are starters, 1 of those is an evolution to an older Pokemon, Sylveon, it's not very impressive. It's pretty sad, honestly. And while I think the designs in Kalos were an absolute knockout, just this little of them was definitely upsetting, especially after coming off of Unova, where we got 150 plus new Pokemon. So, yeah, definitely a little sad. You kind of can't talk about XY's flaws without mentioning that. On that note, we also have to talk about the Mega situation. So, okay, Mega Evolutions are supposed to be their substitute for more deck slots. I'm not really happy with that because those are in battle forms only, but okay, whatever. Well, then they locked most of them to the post game. I mean, there's a few that you do get in the actual playthrough of X and Y, but most of them are saved for the post game, and so, again, that number of new Pokemon is pretty low, and like I said, that's just really upsetting coming off of Unova. And on the subject of post-game, while I enjoyed X and Y's post-game, I do wish there had been more areas to explore. For me, the biggest thing about Pokemon, other than, like, new Pokemon, is exploring new areas. And so it's really cool when you get games like Gold and Silver, where you have a whole region to explore in the post-game, or Fire Red, Leaf Green, you have the Sevii Islands, and Diamond and Pearl, you have that whole post-game island. But then there's X and Y, where you have one city. There's plots in Lumios, and there's things to do in Clued City, and there's the whole mega stone hunting, but there's just one city to explore, and it's, you know, it's not much. So that was definitely a little disappointing to me, that there weren't more areas to explore. Again, coming off of Unova, there were so many areas to explore in the Unova post-game, so just very upsetting. Another one I've mentioned a couple of times now is that you didn't really have compelling rivals in these games. In the past Pokemon games, you'd have, well, by the past I really mean the first two, you had these rivals that really pushed you to want to beat them. You know, Gary, Silver, and I don't even think they have to be jerks to make you want to beat them. Like Barry, I think, is a good example of someone who's not a jerk, but you still wanted to beat Barry. But people like May and Brendan and Wally, and in these games, Serena or Callum, Tierno, Shauna, Trevor, you don't really care to beat them. You know, there's not this drive like there was with Gary, Silver, or again, for me, even Barry and Charon. there's not that drive. It's just kind of like, hey, do you want to have a battle? And it's like, okay. So again, they just kind of feel like route trainers in terms of how much you care about beating them. Now we have to talk about the new additions in X and Y that were kind of supposed to be like side things to do. Every Pokemon game kind of has these side things to do. It all began with contests back in Hoenn. You had these side things you could do, weren't relevant to the story, but you could do them. And X and Y is no different. It introduced some of these things, and a lot of them kind of sucked. So first we have the PR videos. I'm sorry, I know this is based on opinion, but I hated these. This was a poor contest, musical, whatever substitute. And yeah, just not a fan. Then we had Sky Battles and Inverse Battles, and both of those are incredibly cool in concept, but were just poorly executed. Inverse Battles you can have in one house. It's not even a battle facility or anything. You can't do it with friends. It's just in this one house with an NPC. And Sky Battles, again, can't do it with friends. No battle facility for it. You just can do it with these NPCs as you're going through the game, and it's completely optional. And all that for the cost of, like, Swellow's sprite being ruined and other Pokemon sprites being ruined. Swellow's one of my favorites that got ruined, so that's the first one I think of. But it wasn't worth it. It totally wasn't worth it, especially since we haven't seen these things since. So yeah, Sky Battles and Inverse Battles, great idea, terrible execution. Now, while that was a great idea with terrible execution, we have to talk about just a dumb idea. And if you've seen my Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald video, you know what's coming, and that is that the villain team is absolutely stupid. I hate this villain team. And what I mean is their goals. You know, like Team Rocket sells Pokemon on the black market, and they're like this mafia. I can get behind that. I can see, you know, oh, they're evil, that would exist in our world, I need to beat them. But then you have people like Team Aqua and Team Magma, and now Team Flare, who just have these terrible ideas that will kill everyone, including them. They're like, oh, we'll create an ultimate weapon that destroys everyone who we deem isn't pretty, because, and it won't kill us because of reasons. You know, I mean, that doesn't work for me. That was a stupid plan. It was a stupid villain team. Cyrus wanted to create a whole new world using Pokemon that control space-time. That makes sense. Completely destroying the world and then just kind of starting over. That there's so many logic holes in that. I can't get behind it. That was really dumb. Now, our final thing is going to be about Mega Evolution, and specifically that there just wasn't enough users of Mega Evolutions in these games. You have your rival will use Mega Evolution against you. You have that one battle with Karina where she uses Mega Evolution. And you have the champion and then a few others, but that's it. Like, there's even a battle facility in the post-game. They don't use Mega Evolution against you. That's kind of ridiculous. This whole region's thing is Megas, and I have no opponents that are using it in the game, or very few, rather. So, again, just something that I think was a very missed opportunity here, and definitely needed correction. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on my favorite Pokemon game and its flaws. They're actually, so far, I think X and Y has more flaws than any of the other games I've covered, so you see I'm being fair, because I absolutely adore these games, and they are great games, but they're not without flaws. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what flaws I missed, what things you disagree with me on, agree with me on, whatever have you. And be sure to also like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. We've been going through this series for a while now, which you're more than welcome to check out, and we'll be keep on going, so you'll want to make sure you're up to date. So again, like, subscribe, hit the bell so that you don't miss our next video in this series. Until next time, I will see all of you later.